friends in the pits and you take no prisoners. 1 minute you're up 500,000 in soybeans, and the next, boom, your kids don't go to college and they've repossessed your Bentley. Are you with me?
The revolution starts now.
We have to pass the bill so that you can find out what is in it.
Turn those machines back on!
You are about to enter the Peter Schiff Show.
Show me the money!
We lose freedom here. There's no place to escape to. This is the last stand on earth.
The Peter Schiff Show is on.
I don't know when they decided that they wanted to make a virtue out of selfishness.
Your money, your stories,
Your freedom.
the Peter Schiff Show.
Hi, everybody. Well, as I had been expecting since the beginning, Donald Trump did something that hasn't been accomplished since the 1890s, when Grover Cleveland became the first president to succeed at serving 2 non-consecutive terms. Well, now Donald Trump becomes only the second man in history to pull that off. Now, Grover Cleveland, who happened to be a Democrat, is one of my favorite presidents. Unfortunately, though I supported Donald Trump, he is no Grover Cleveland, nor do I expect him to behave like Grover Cleveland. Now, before I kind of get into what happened in the markets and the reaction, to the win, I want to remind my audience why he won and why I was so confident for so long that he was going to win. He won because the economy is lousy. That's why. That's why he won the first time in 2016. That's why I predicted he was going to win in 2016, because back in 2015, the media was selling the same BS, mainstream media, Wall Street, that we had a great economy. And they were trying to get the public to elect Hillary to continue the great economy from Barack Obama. Donald Trump was basically saying the same thing that I was. It was almost like he was watching my podcast and then going stumping on the campaign trail about how the economy was actually bad, how the numbers were a fraud, how the government numbers were lies, particularly the unemployment number. While Obama and Clinton were bragging about the low official unemployment rate, Donald Trump said, I don't care about that 5% unemployment rate. The real rate is 10%, 15%, 20%. Every time he would do another speech, he would up what the actual rate was. But whatever it was, Trump was right. Unemployment was much higher than what the government numbers pretended. And I knew his message was going to resonate with all the people living in the real economy. I remember the media back then kept saying, why don't the voters realize how good the economy is? Why is there a disconnect between the voters and the economy? And I was saying the disconnect is between the economy and the data. The public is right. The data is what's wrong. And so Trump was going to make America great again. This is all BS. The economy is a mess. It's lousy. I'm going to fix it. Take a chance on me. What do you got to lose? You've been reelecting these career politicians, and all they've done is screw things up. Why don't you give a businessman a shot? Let me come in there. I'll drain the swamp and everything's going to get better, right? And so that message sold. It worked. He won. The problem is he was there for 4 years and he didn't accomplish anything that he set out to accomplish. Yes, he cut taxes, but all that did is run up the deficit, especially since they increased government spending. Yes, he had a Republican House and a Republican Senate, just the way he's going to start off his second term, but they didn't do anything to reduce the deficit. The deficit went up. Even before COVID, the deficits went up. The trade deficits went up. He ran on bringing them down. They hit record highs even before COVID, and then they hit even higher record highs after, when we reopened the economy. So he didn't achieve what he set out to achieve. The bubble got bigger under his watch, but it didn't pop, right? But beneath the surface, things were getting worse, even though the phony numbers didn't reveal that. Of course, once Trump became president, he no longer said the numbers were phony. In fact, he even joked about that as president. When somebody pointed out to him, he said, well, now that I'm president, they're real. So it's like he completely flip-flopped and all of a sudden embraced the very numbers he criticized. He did the same thing with the Fed. He was criticizing Janet Yellen for being too easy, and then he criticized Powell for being too tight, right? The same guy who's still there. But nobody seemed to mind the hypocrisy. But the reason that Trump didn't get reelected was because after 4 years, people were not, better off. Now, compared to the way they are now, yeah, they were. they weren't much better off or any better off than they were in 2016 and 2020, although they were flush with stimulus money from COVID. But they're way worse off now in 2024 than they were in 2020 or 2016. There's no doubt about that. But it's been the same media propaganda campaign. The mainstream media and Wall Street and the financial media have been trying to sell the public the same snake oil about how great the economy is, right? And they didn't buy it. And look, here's the funniest part. I'm watching last night, and I flipped through the channels, like, Fox, CNN, MSNBC. I enjoy watching the people on CNN and MSNBC, as they're, upset, that Trump is winning, so it's kind of entertaining to watch how upset they can get, and they're on the brink of tears. But I'm watching on MSNBC, and Rachel Maddow is getting so frustrated, on probably on the verge of crying, but extremely frustrated. And she's just screaming, how can this happen when the economy is so great? We've got the greatest economy ever. It's the envy of the world. It's booming. She said, inflation is gone. It's lower than it was under Trump. I mean, she was talking about this fantastic economy. How can this happen? How can Biden not be getting credit? How can we not be reelecting Kamala when everything is so great, right? She's actually saying this. She believes this nonsense. What makes it even more ridiculous is right before she went on this diatribe, of screaming about how great the economy was, they were putting up graphics from the exit polls, and where they asked the voters, what's your big issue, right? What are you most concerned about, and why did you vote the way you voted? The number one issue was the economy. It was the economy, and it was inflation, which is really the economy. Those are the two issues: the economy and inflation. Now, if the economy is good, that's not your number one issue. If the economy is good, you're content. The issue is something else. Maybe it's the environment. Maybe it's healthcare, whatever.